The Myakka River is a good place to go and get a little vacation from the city life. And the 4 children, they all enjoyed learning how to fish. Well, favorite ones is snook, because they give a little fight. They'll jump in there and spit the hook out. When I was doing that cleanup, there was a fisherman there, down there under that bridge. He caught a 27-inch snook right there. They kept saying, well, why do you clean up this river? Why do you care so much about it? I said, that's why, because you can still catch a snook in there. Well, the cleanup of the river has always been a very important thing to me. Since 1993, I started doing it twice a year. It's been worse some years than others. I think some of the young delinquents of the neighborhoods have gotten tamed somewhat. But as I get older, I'm less effective in doing the areas I do, but it has opened up the spirit of other people wanting to do likewise. Initially, in the front, they didn't charge admission to come in the park. Then as they started to have to charge admission to be able to finance the upkeep of the park, then people would try to get in without paying admission. So that's why they had to make the entry and exit lanes. And in the middle was this space that in 1993, when I came on board with the park, a number of us thought together it'd be really nice to explain to people about dry prairie and the great diversity of the plants that occur. And so I tried to plant dry prairie plants there so that people could see how it looks around the season. You want to see some of my grasses? Okay. You might want to just see what we have here now. That kind of grass, Gulf mealy, yeah, it's one of my favorites. This is giant Waxahachie grass. I like it very much because it's a place where the little tree frogs can hide. Shiny blueberry, it's one of my favorites. Liatris, this is one of my favorite plants. Lopsided Indian grass. It's one of my favorites. But wiregrass is one of the important grasses in the dry prairie. Well, it isn't overcome by other grasses. Even a little tiny bunch of them holds its place. Well, now and then I go through and get some of the stuff out. A lot of pepper grass. We can't take our time to pull that all out. Common plantain. This is common weed. Here's one you don't like to tangle with. It has thorns. Here it is again. Shoot, the name, I can't pull it out of my stupid brain right now. I don't like it. I don't like that plant very much. You know, the shade of scantia. I fought that for years. Yeah, this is Bidens. It takes over every place it gets in. It thinks it has every right to be here. Yeah, it's spiky. We don't need it. It won't do too well now. There's certain grasses that are very invasive, and you don't want those in that area. For some reason, people will plant something that is not like the regular plants. They've imported a lot of different grass stalks from other parts of the world. Bahia grass is one of them. The first species that they introduced was in constant bloom, spreading all over the place. I think it's nice to have a grassy lawn where if you wanted to play croquet or whatever, it's good for that use. But at Myakka, you have all kinds of grasses that get there simply because it's open space, and if the wind blows it in, then you got it. And then you don't have the native grass, you have some exotic that has no enemies, so it can spread and get more of them all around the place, of no use to the wildlife out there. But you keep working at it, trying to keep it in the right balance of plants you want there. Then it becomes almost a religious thing to you. Well, it's unusual. In a small space, like the size of a card table, you may have 40 or 50 different species. You take oaks or pines, they have to take too big a space for each individual. In the dry prairie, if you keep it burned and keep the other plants from taking over, then you have a very diverse group of plants. And you need all these kinds of little forbs and grasses. Some tiny birds need little tiny things to eat. That's the great thing about diversity, being able to meet the needs of all the different wildlife. I frequently work on Mondays. I don't keep track of how much time I spend. Well, for one thing, one of the issues I have, the head of the Department of Environmental Protection is the head of the park system. They should be regulating activities like phosphate mining. They shouldn't allow them to mess with the wetlands and destroy them. And they aren't regulating it. They really aren't doing their job. So I don't report my hours to them. Why should I make them feel nice and fuzzy about all these hours that I spend out there taking care of the area? It's kind of a sick attitude, but that's my attitude. I've always been fascinated with Don Quixote because he's an individual who wanted to get rid of the bad, and he's often fighting things that normal people wouldn't worry about. Why is he always trying to tear down the windmills? But he's getting old and not as effective, and I can share his problem there. In the front, they just go by it and don't even think of it. It's there. So what? That's the attitude most people have. Right now it's just little green grasses. In the fall, you can see the lopsided Indian grass, which is a very beautiful plant. Well, it's a grass that it gets all the flowers on one side, and so it sort of looks like a bunch of flags flying. You almost feel patriotic when you see a tall stand of lopsided Indian grass. It makes you feel like, everything's growing well.